Hi guys and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be filming something a little bit different to my usual content. I'm going to be reviewing a Switch game. So I don't really talk about games on the internet much, but I actually play an awful lot of games in my spare time. Don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but in part I don't talk about them on the internet because I don't like the way that the gaming community treats women. And I'm actually really nervous making this video, but we'll just scoot on past this because I really do want to review this game because I have some thoughts and I really want to share them with somebody who might potentially be looking to buy this. You know, 2020 has been a dog shit year and you've probably been spent more time in your house than you ever have before, and moving into the year it's going to get colder and we're not really being let out anytime soon. So this might be the game for you. What is Ring Fit Adventure? This might sound like a silly thing to include, but I can't pretend like I didn't really know what I was getting myself in for when I started playing this game. It basically takes like the exercising gaming phenomenon with stuff like Wii Fit, Wii Sports, basically whatever Nintendo have brought out beforehand, but it also takes the RPG and it brings them together and creates Ring Fit Adventure. It's not like a VR experience at all in the slightest, but you are the main character in the game and you are interacting and using your body to play the game. So whether that is you running through the forest, you'll be like jogging on the spot, or whether you are fighting monsters, which is very similar to the turn-based gaming that you're probably used to in regards to stuff like Pokemon or Final Fantasy and stuff like that, and where you're doing sort of exercise moves and repetition. So it definitely has built upon the sort of like Wii Fit balance board type of thing. I think its main aim is to kind of almost distract you from doing exercise, like that you're doing exercise, that you're playing a game, and sort of gets you more engaged. But yeah, and I guess talking about me, as I said, I've had this game for about 3 months now, and so I was in deepest, darkest lockdown when this came into my life. So as you can imagine, I wasn't really leaving the house, let alone participating in any real exercise. So for me, it came at a really great time to sort of get my body moving and sort of get my fitness up after, you know, sitting on my ass for most of the year. I flirted with gym memberships throughout my adult life, but none of them have ever really stuck. I've done some classes here and there, but I'm really not somebody who has found the type of exercise for me. However, I've given Ring Fit Adventure a go. So I've created a pro list, a con list, and a things to note list. So hopefully this will help you make an informed decision as to whether this game is for you. So shall we start with a pro? I think that's a great idea. So my first pro is this. There is no doubt about it. This is a full body workout. I think it's most akin to like a HIIT workout. So how the game mechanics typically work is you're either like running through the level, so you're jogging on the spot. Sometimes you have to like jump over obstacles or swim through a river and all that fun stuff. So that's kind of more of your cardio side of things. And then you also have turn-based fighting with monsters, bosses, all that fun stuff. And in that is when you're doing reps of different moves. So each move will have a certain speciality. So the game splits up into 4, which is arms, legs, abs, or yoga / balance. And then it will have a different damage rating and then also a different range. So the amount of monsters that you can fight at any one time is 5. So some of the moves you can hit all 5 of them. Then there's some moves that hit 3 and some moves that hit 1. So the sort of more direct the attack is, the higher the damage is. So with all that being said, I find myself personally, how I'm playing the game, I'm going off on a tangent, but personally how I play the game is I play to win the game. So if you're somebody like me who plays the game to sort of win the game, I have a variety of different moves in my roster of moves that you can have. So that means I'm moving all different parts of my body, and I typically find I really do get a full body workout. I have not sweated. I have never in my life sweated as much as I've sweated playing this game. And in part it might be because it's warm, but honestly a large part I think it is to do with how the game works and how you play it. It really is very much a workout. So a con to this game, I've kind of listed it as logistics. I guess this point is kind of like threefold, but it's all kind of to do with whether you fit the basic criteria of playing this game. So first of all, it's expensive because you've got it's a Nintendo title and they typically hold their price. it's expensive, but also because you've got the extra apparatus with it as well. That costs money, and really I think in this current climate it's not going to drop in price anytime soon. It's around the £70 mark. You know, it might be something that comes up in a Black Friday sale, but I don't see this game dropping in price. Also, it is for Switch customers as opposed to Switch Lite users. Because you need the Joy-Cons to strap to your body, you can't use the Switch Lite. I mean, there might be a way to, like, I don't know, rig it up to your telly and make it work, but I'm fairly certain it is just for Switch users because, again, you need those Joy-Cons, and also a set of Joy-Cons costs about 60 quid. So at that point, if you're buying the game and buying the Joy-Cons, you're looking at £150. So it can, like, it really can get up there in price if you're, yeah, if you're a Switch Lite user, I wouldn't buy this game, is what I'm saying. And then the other thing is space. You need space to play this game. So full disclosure, I haven't actually paid for this game. My brother has lent it to me. And the reason being is this room is too small for him to play it. Like, I play it in my living room, so I have quite a lot of space to play the game. But it's definitely one of those things that, whilst you're playing the game, it very much makes it noted to you that you do need space and you could hit into stuff. But even me, that when I've got like quite a nice sizable living room, I have been like bumping into things. So it's just something to think about, because sometimes you're lying on the floor, sometimes you're jumping up and down, so you definitely do need space around you to play this game. My next pro is that it is fully customizable. So as I mentioned with the previous pro, how the mechanics work in regards to like which part of your body works and stuff. So I personally have been playing it to win the game, like what is needed of me in the game. However, if you wanted to, you know, to have leg day or arm day or something, you could totally still play the game itself, like the main campaign, and line it up and play the game focusing on a certain body part or focusing on, you know, a couple of body parts or what have you, and play the game that way. Yeah, you might not necessarily get through the game as quickly, but if you're, you know, playing it to work a certain part of your body, you absolutely can do that, no problem. They also have these customizable sets, so outside of the main campaign you can create your own reps and create your own sort of like workouts, which uses the same moves that are in the main campaign but like has them outside of it. So yeah, so you can make these sets which are completely customizable, whether you want to like make one for like certain days of the week or certain body types or a certain amount of time that you have to work out. You can create these sets and then just use those outside of the main campaign if, you know, that is something that you wish to do. You really can tailor it to what your needs are, and it's very fluid in how you can do that too. What I would say is I would, you know, play some of the main campaign first just to get used to the controls and get used to how it works before solely relying on sets, but in theory you could do that from the get-go. One thing I do have to say is I have had only a couple of technical difficulties. There is one in particular which is a massive bugbear for me, and also I'm not the only one that's had this issue. So when you set up the game, you put in stuff like your age and your height as well, and height's really important, so because you're strapping one of the Joy-Cons to your leg and it's obviously registering how you're moving your body. The Joy-Con does not register my squats at all, or to the max capacity what they are. So basically when you're completing a move such as a squat, there's like 2 damage levels that you can make. So you can either do good or you can do great, and obviously if you do great you damage the monster that you're fighting more. So obviously the dream is for you to be at the great status during your game. So the aim of the game is to obviously get as many greats as you can whilst you're playing. However, I find particularly with the squats, and it is just with the squats, that it does not want to think that I always get good. It basically wants me to sit on the floor, which I'm like overextending myself, which is not good for my knees. And it's something that I spoke to a friend about as well, and she says she had the same problem. And I do remember you definitely register your height, because like for example, like I'm 5 foot but my housemate is 6 foot, so if he wanted to play the game, obviously it needs to know what your height is so it can better adjust to you doing the moves and for it to be like register in game. That's the only move, and it's all type of squats as well. I have found like a hack around it. If I just lift up my leg that has the Joy-Con on it, then it works out no problem. Like I can get that great rating, but you know, I want to play this game predominantly so I can work out. So I would rather be doing the squats than sort of like cheating the game, but I have found a way around it. I'm not proud of it, but I want to get that great rating. But yeah, it's something that I'm not the only person that's had an issue with this. Although my friend is a similar height to me, she's a little bit taller than I am. yeah, it's just something to note that there are a few technical difficulties. I did have, and this has only happened once, and I have played this game a lot, like, you know, I've had this game for a few months now, and this has only happened once, but I think it's to do with how charged your Joy-Cons are. Once it just really was not registering me, like, moving the ring con as I was, so that obviously made the game a little bit harder to play, but honestly, I think that might just be a funny 5 minutes. I want to mention it, that, you know, it being registered and charged is important. But yeah, so the squat thing, it's a massive bugbear, but anyway. I really do think this game is fabulous, particularly for like indoor workouts. So as I mentioned, I'm somebody that has like flirted with the idea of gyms. Sometimes I have memberships to gyms near my work or near my home, but just due to my lifestyle, my life isn't like a Monday, Friday, 9 to 5. So I found getting that into a routine and sort of heading out and going to the gym a challenge in itself, let alone actually doing the workout when I got there. And also that again, if you've been around this channel, I have started the Couch to 5K before, but like I'm not like a boot camp type of person. I don't play sports, like that's not my vibe. I really do think this is great for at-home workouts. I mean, at the moment, gyms are, you know, in the midst of coronavirus world, gyms are not necessarily the places that I would want to be right now, regardless of if I had a membership or not. So if you're somebody who's like used to working in a gym workout, but like doesn't feel like comfortable going to a gym, like by the way, I have never felt comfortable going to a gym. I have never felt, welcomes are harsh, but like I've never felt comfortable in a gym setting. Like I've never felt comfortable to like do like weight training or anything like that, which is predominantly a reflection on how I feel about myself as opposed to the other people there. Like nobody's ever been nasty to me at a gym, but I've never felt comfortable there either. Like I don't want to shower at a gym. I don't want to shower at a gym, like that's something I don't want to do. I want to shower in the comfort of my own home. And yeah, I just think, you know, moving further into 2020 with the world being in the situation that it is, and also with it getting colder outside, I think like for an indoor at-home workout, I think it does that side of exercise fantastically. So one thing that I have to point out is, although, you know, as I mentioned, this is not a game that is solely a workout game. There is a storyline to it, there is like a purpose to it. I am not remotely invested in the story. I think the game looks really nice. I think like it's like fun for all the family and like all that fun stuff. I think that's really good, but like the actual plot and the storyline, I could not care less about. Like I'm just not invested like at all in it, which is something that I wanted to point out. If, you know, if you're somebody who likes VR experiences and thinks like, oh, this is like kind of maybe a little bit like that, but not really. I mean, I realise it's not like a virtual reality experience, you don't have a headgear or anything like that, but like it's a more immersive experience than a typical game. You're not getting involved with the story. The storyline is basic, dare I say boring, and it's just like, it's a means to an end. And maybe I think in part it might be, you know, like fun for all the family. As I said, like kids might play this game as well as adults, so they've gone for a fairly generic storyline. But like, yeah, I'm just not invested in the story at all. So if you wanted to play this and be invested in the story, I don't think you're gonna be. Like, it's not bad, like I'm not offended by it, but I'm not interested in it at all, so that's something I wanted to point out. So speaking of at-home workouts and working out from home, one thing that I think is really good about this is I can't pretend like I've done the YouTube workouts and all that stuff, and I have had the devil on my shoulder being like, you know you can just quit, you know you can just stop right now. You know, Blogilates isn't in my living room telling me to keep going, and there have been so many times where I have done a workout and either not done it to my full potential or quit out of the video. And where I think having it be more interactive and a game, I have not ever quit out of the game and been like, I'm done now. I have always seen it through. So for me, I think it is, you know, really that step up from like a YouTube video or a workout home video, because there is more accountability to it. So, and also actually it is a really good game to be like, you know, it is very much like taking care of you, being like, oh, like, are you finished for today? Like, make sure you stay hydrated, like all this fun stuff. Like, it really is like making sure that you're not overexerting yourself. But like, that being said, I find it really does, even though the story is not great, like I do find that I'm a lot more invested in completing a level or what have you. Like, say for example, like I've got 40 reps of one move, but like halfway through I'm like, meh. Like, you know, you can stop and stand still, but the moves are still going to be there and you need to like complete them. So for me, I really have noticed a difference that I haven't quit out of it. I have really kept at it, and I have found it a lot more engaging than just your standard home video or YouTube workout. So one thing I would say, potentially the biggest thing that is wrong, or missing, should I say, with this game is online/multiplayer. So I have 2 other friends that have this game. Basically, the beginning and the ending of the online multiplayer mode is I can see their results. Like, I can see their crib sheets telling me how many times they've done squats or done leg lifts or what have you, and compare them to mine. I can also see globally, you know, it's very easy for me to see like people who were born in my year, what they have done, and where I'm at, like where my ranking is. But like, that is the beginning and ending of it. I think, you know, I understand like multiplayer if you're in the same place. Again, I mentioned that you need space, so maybe they don't want to include it so people aren't bumping into each other. But I think that would be another layer of accountability, because also there's like a rhythm game on it, which is really similar to one of the levels in Mario Party. And so it's like a quick little fun thing. And I'm like, well, you surely could do that with somebody. And even if you had only like one Rincon or something like that, you could like pass it round and do it with your friends or something. I don't know. But also like online play, like being able to like play a level with your friends or like race your friends or something in the game. I really do think that they're missing, like incorporating a more online multiplayer mode. Like, I really do hope that at some point they create a patch or an update or what have you to make that a reality, because I think it's one thing to be like playing the game, but I think to keep you continuing playing the game, I think if you had a accountability with a partner or somebody else that was playing, I think would be really beneficial. And my last pro is I really do like the layout of the game, how the game is laid out, both playing the game but also visually how it's laid out. So I think one thing that I find really beneficial is, so you kind of get like a flat lay over the world that you're in, and you can sort of see the different type of levels. So there's some levels which are like your standard levels, then you've got your boss levels, game gym, which is like little mini games and little bits and bobs, and you can like see across the map. Let's say there's 10 levels in one world, and I find it's really helpful to see, like, as I said, like, I'm not invested in the story, but I can like look at this and like, I can, you know, once you've played the game a little bit, you kind of know what you're getting yourself in for each level. And I find myself being like, okay, like, this is a good place for me to stop for the next time, and like plot out my workout. And it means that I, you know, even if I don't go into it being like, I'm gonna be working out for half an hour, lo and behold, that's what I'm doing by the time I get to the point. I think there's just something in the like trajectory that you can see for the in-game play that makes you play more than what you would otherwise. And I think it makes you stick at it as well. I don't know, I just think it's really beneficial and really good how it's laid out. Like, it seems so simple, but actually I think it's one of those things. I think if I was somebody who was like, oh my god, I'm gonna be working out for half an hour, or I'm gonna be working out for an hour, or no, do you know what it's almost like? Do you know what it's like? It's like when you find yourself in a YouTube hole where you watch, instead of being like, oh, okay, well, I'm not gonna watch a film tonight, instead you end up watching like 30 cat videos instead. It's literally exactly the same mentality as that, where you're watching like, because the levels, I mean, there are some boss levels which are like 10 minutes long, but that's about it. And most of the levels are sort of less than that. So you kind of say to yourself like, oh, like this level's only 4 minutes long, but then you do 5 of them and that's 20 minutes. So I definitely like how it's set out like that, and I definitely think it plays into that mentality of being like, oh, I don't want to commit 2 hours to a film, but I want to commit 2 hours to 20 cat videos. I definitely think it plays on that, and I think it works really well, particularly for me. And the last con I have is kind of a little bit more of like a thing to note, like a little niggle, but it's inconsistent tutorials. So I think there's a lot of tutorials and a lot of like explaining what you need to do in the game. A large part of that I think is to do with like safety and making sure that you're not like overexerting yourself or doing a move wrong, which can, you know, negatively impact you. However, they have like long form and short form tutorials, and I just find that they are inconsistent with what moves you're doing. So there's something called the victory pose, which is when you finish the move, you go, which if you're, you know, you play 5 levels, you're doing that 5 times. And it's a very simple move, so I can tell you right here what a victory pose is. However, if there's like a mini game that I haven't played in 3 weeks, it just launches straight into it, and I'm just like, for me, it's just like it's not consistent in when it's, you know, going over something. So that's just more of a little bugbear, but it's something that I wanted to point out. Before we round this up, I do have a couple things to note. So one thing I wanted to note is something called active time versus actual time. So whilst you're playing the game, in the bottom left-hand corner, there's an active timer. So that is recording how long you are actively playing the game, like whether you're running, whether you're doing a move or what have you. It's recording it in the corner. And it wasn't until I've been playing the game for a couple of weeks that I really realised how different my active time is to the actual time that I'm on the game. So when you log into the game, it comes up and it shows your like basic crib sheet. It tells you like how long you've roughly been playing the game. However, in your Switch profile, it also tells you how long you've been on the game, and it's literally double the time that I've been on the game. So I did actually record 4 workouts, my active time and my actual time, and they are roughly, all of them, they range from 47% more to 53% more. So if I've done a workout that's 23 minutes and 33 seconds long, I was actually on the game for 45 minutes and 4 seconds. So yeah, so it's one of those things that I think if you have a time constraint, because one of the luxuries of, you know, having a unique opportunity in lockdown is there were days when I really didn't have anywhere to be, so it wasn't that much of an issue. However, if you are somebody who likes to like work out in the morning before work, or like wants to like plan it in and fit it into your working week, I think it could be almost a little bit misleading. But, you know, a way around that is, you know, creating those sets and creating like a set, and you know roughly how long that's going to take you. So there is ways around it if you're in a crunch. But I just thought it was something to note that you basically spend double the amount of time on it than you are exercising, which is interesting. So another thing that I've noted as well is the leg strap. So for me personally, I find it best to work out in shorts and have like no material underneath them. Just because I find if I have like workout leggings on, the strap will like fall down my leg, which is, you know, not ideal. But funny enough, I spoke to my friend about this, and she said that for her, she like had shorts on once and it was like rubbing on her leg, so it made a little bit of a mark, but I don't know if that was just a one-time thing. But for me, my personal preference is to wear shorts because, yeah, it sticks to, the sweat makes it stick to my leg better than sheeny, shiny, man-made material. So yeah, that's something to note. And last but not least, the other thing that I have to note is the amount of accidental screenshots. So with the typical Joy-Con controllers, there is a specific screenshot button. However, because that one is on your leg, the minus one is on your leg, the plus one is in the handheld thing, I believe it's the R button. If you accidentally press that, that does a screenshot. And just the amount of times I've been accidentally recording the screen is a bit funny. So if that's something that bothers you, you might have to delete all of them, but you know, it is what it is. Anyway, would I recommend this game? Yes, I would. I feel like I've been very unbiased in me explaining all this stuff, but I would 110% recommend this game. If you are somebody who, you know, is going to be spending the rest of the year basically inside, i.e. most of us, you already have a Switch and you want to have a workout game, like, I really do think this is a really great one, because as I said, I'm somebody that really doesn't stick to workouts all that much, but actually this has been something that I have found has been really positive in my life, and I've really enjoyed my time playing it. So anyway, I hope this is helpful, and I look forward to hearing from you down below. Bye!